What if the universe isn't silent? What if something out there just revealed itself and it's not natural? For months, astronomers believed they were tracking just another interstellar visitor. But on September 25th, the impossible happened. 9 smaller objects appeared around 3I/Atlas, glowing like fireflies around a lantern, each one radiating enough power to light entire nations. Suddenly, the mystery exploded. Are these fragments, advanced probes, or something far more dangerous? And with another colossal comet, Swan R2, closing in at the very same time, humanity may be standing on the brink of a cosmic encounter unlike anything in history. This isn't science fiction. This is unfolding right now, above our heads. Stay with us as we uncover the data, the theories, and the terrifying possibilities. And before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below, because what you're about to hear will change the way you see the universe. For weeks, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just another interstellar traveler cutting across the night sky. A strange green streak named 3I/Atlas. Astronomers had seen this kind of thing before. Oumuamua, Borisov. Cosmic wanderers that pass through our system and vanish back into the void. But then, in the early hours of September 19th, 2 a.m. UTC, everything changed. On a quiet hillside in northern Chile, amateur astronomer Leslie Peltier was alone with his equipment, a 40-inch research-grade telescope wired into NASA's precise tracking data, a cryogenically cooled camera capturing every faint glimmer of light. For nights, his routine had been the same: monitor, record, catalog, a discipline that requires patience, because space rarely offers surprises. But that night, space itself blinked. As his system tracked the emerald glow of 3I/Atlas, 9 smaller lights emerged around it, dim but perfectly aligned, not scattered, not random. They moved in formation, in flawless lockstep with the main body, like fireflies orbiting a lantern. Peltier froze, staring at the screen, certain it was a glitch. He checked the equipment, nothing wrong. He reran the imaging, frame by frame. The points remained. And then came the realization that made his blood run cold. These weren't artifacts, weren't cosmic rays, weren't tricks of the lens. They were real. He posted the images online, first to astronomy forums, then to professional networks. Most dismissed them instantly. Noise, calibration error, amateur fantasy. But within 48 hours, the world's most powerful eyes confirmed what he had seen. The James Webb Space Telescope, Hubble, the Very Large Telescope in Chile, the KEK Observatory in Hawaii, machines designed to peer across billions of light years into the infant universe, all saw the same thing: 10 objects where there had only ever been one. And the terrifying part? The data was consistent. Identical speeds, identical trajectories, identical chemical signatures, every fragment glowing with the same eerie green tail as 3I/Atlas. It was no longer possible to wave this away as illusion or error. Something had appeared in our skies, in perfect unison, with precision that nature does not obey. Scientists scrambled for explanations: a natural breakup event, a collision, but the timelines didn't match. There had been no warning, no signs of stress, no gradual separation. One moment there was one. The next moment, 10. And it happened faster than the blink of an eye. This was the moment astronomy itself split in two. Before September 19th, when interstellar objects were strange but natural. And after September 19th, when the laws of physics no longer seemed to apply. From the lonely hillside where Peltier captured history to the corridors of Caltech, MIT, and Harvard, a chilling thought began to spread. Maybe, just maybe, we weren't looking at a comet at all. And if that's true, then we have to ask the question no one wants to face. What kind of force, what kind of technology could create 9 companions out of nothing, synchronized in ways the universe has never shown us before? The answer may lie in what came next, the impossible energy signatures that shook even the most skeptical scientists and left the world staring into a mystery too powerful to ignore. Once the 9 companions were confirmed, the next wave of data sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Telescopes weren't just capturing light and motion anymore, they were reading heat. And what those thermal signatures revealed was beyond comprehension. 3I/Atlas itself had already raised suspicions, radiating what looked like a constant 10 gigawatts of thermal power. For perspective, that's more than the output of some entire nation's energy grids. But when astronomers turned their instruments toward the 9 companions, the numbers broke through every boundary of known physics. Each one appeared to be generating 20 gigawatts of power, 20 per object. Imagine a city block-sized fragment glowing with the same energy output as dozens of nuclear plants combined. The equations don't just strain belief, they snap it in half. Nature simply doesn't build reactors this efficient. A comet powered by sunlight or chemical reactions could never emit this steady, blistering intensity. Even stars, in their fusion hearts, distribute energy across vast volumes. But these objects, small, dense, precise, were radiating impossible amounts from confined spaces. Scientists tried to model it. Plasma dynamics, high-pressure fusion cores, exotic metal containment, all failed. Supercomputers locked up under the contradictions. The math refused to converge. If these objects were natural, they should have torn themselves apart long ago under the heat and pressure. Yet they held together, stable, glowing, and marching in formation beside their parent body. That left only one possibility. Something unknown was fueling them. Speculation spread like wildfire. Were these exotic fission-fusion hybrids far beyond human engineering, or antimatter reactors with annihilation energy harvested from particles we can barely contain for microseconds in labs? Others whispered about something stranger still, dark matter catalysis, tapping into the invisible scaffolding of the universe itself. Whatever the source, one fact chilled every researcher who looked at the data. These weren't random fragments. They were machines, power plants, engines, each one a blazing testament to technology our civilization cannot even dream of replicating. If this were true, then we weren't just witnessing rocks tumbling through the void, we were staring at evidence of an intelligence capable of bending the deepest laws of physics to its will, an intelligence that might not just be passing by, and that realization forced scientists and governments alike to ask the most urgent question of all. If this power isn't natural, if it's engineered, then how did it arrive so suddenly? That mystery would only deepen when astronomers uncovered the truth about the 9 companions' appearance, an event so fast, so precise, that no human sensor could capture the instant it occurred. If the power signatures were alarming, the way these 9 companions appeared was nothing short of terrifying. Every telescope, every probe, every set of human eyes had been trained on 3I/Atlas for weeks. Its trajectory, speed, and brightness were logged down to the millisecond. Yet, in one instant, the universe rewrote the script. At exactly 2 a.m. UTC on September 19th, something happened that no one could explain. The 9 companions did not drift apart slowly. They did not peel away from the core, and they certainly did not emerge with warning. They simply blinked into existence. One moment, there was only the lone emerald streak. A tenth of a second later, 0.1 milliseconds to be exact, there were 10. That number matters. A human blink takes 300 milliseconds. A camera flash, 5. The appearance of these 9 objects was 30,000 times faster than the blink of an eye. Too fast for any telescope on Earth or in orbit to catch. No Hubble exposure, no James Webb spectrum, no ground-based rig. Nothing recorded the actual birth of these companions. They were simply there, as if the void itself had opened and filled with new bodies. For astronomers, that was the most disturbing fact. If these were natural fragments, a breakup event would take minutes, hours, even days. There would be stress lines, trails of debris, scatter patterns. Instead, the 9 appeared in perfect lockstep, sharing the same trajectory, the same speed, the same spectral fingerprint as 3I/Atlas itself. Nature does not operate with this kind of precision. It was Avi Loeb of Harvard who said what others whispered. This looked like a deployment. The mothership hypothesis suggested 3I/Atlas might be a carrier craft, shedding probes once inside the solar system. The 9 smaller objects, hotter and denser, could be designed to approach worlds more closely while the main body lingered farther out. A strategy. A plan. Skeptics pushed back. Some proposed a violent interstellar collision, a rock smashing into 3I/Atlas and shattering it into glowing shards. Others clung to the idea of a rare cometary fragmentation, but those theories collapsed under scrutiny. No natural impact could create fragments radiating 20 gigawatts each. No breakup event would yield such identical chemical signatures or synchronized trajectories. In the end, the scientific community was left staring at the data with one grim conclusion. This was not a random accident. It was an event, a deliberate act. Something or someone had timed it to perfection, just as the object neared our star. And if these 9 companions truly were probes, then their purpose was the only question that mattered. Were they mapping our solar system? Scouting for resources? Preparing for something far greater? Those answers would only grow more urgent as astronomers realized another cosmic giant was hurtling toward the sun from the opposite direction. Swan R2, a visitor 100 times more massive than 3I/Atlas. Just when scientists thought the enigma of 3I/Atlas and its 9 companions was strange enough, another revelation shook the astronomical world. A second interstellar traveler, Comet Swan R2, was closing in, and this one made Atlas look small, very small. Swan R2 wasn't just another streak across the sky, it was colossal, 100 times more massive and luminous than 3I/Atlas, its green-blue tail stretching across the heavens like a cosmic banner. Observers reported its coma expanding so wide it dwarfed even history's greatest comets, glowing brighter by the day as it hurtled toward the sun. If 3I/Atlas was unsettling, Swan R2 was a monster, an arrival that could not be ignored. But the real shock wasn't just its size, it was its timing. Both 3I/Atlas and Swan R2 were on course to swing past the sun within days of each other, 2 interstellar visitors from opposite directions arriving almost simultaneously. Astronomers called it a cosmic traffic jam, but behind closed doors, the whispers grew darker. Coincidences of this magnitude don't happen often in the universe. Something about their synchronized arrival felt deliberate. Then came the history. Ancient records unearthed from China, Babylon, and medieval Europe seemed to point to a 2,200-year cycle for Swan R2. In Chinese imperial archives, scribes described a heavenly dragon crossing the skies around 200 BCE. Babylonian tablets spoke of a splitting star that foretold upheaval. European chronicles around the year 1000 told of a green visitor with a banner-like tail sweeping across the night. Each record matched the trajectory and timing of Swan R2's return. So, what was it? A harbinger? A protector? Or something far more dangerous? Some researchers dared to imagine Swan R2 as a kind of cosmic guardian, arriving on schedule to counterbalance 3I/Atlas, perhaps to stop it, or its 9 companions, from reaching too close to Earth. Others painted a darker picture, that both objects were part of the same mission, converging around the sun with a shared purpose, 2 pieces of a strategy we could barely comprehend. And here's the chilling part. If Swan R2 had returned every 2,200 years, then it had passed Earth before, long before modern defenses, long before technology. If it were hostile, would humanity have even survived its previous visits? Or had it always been a silent observer, watching civilizations rise and fall? This dual arrival, Atlas with its impossible companions, Swan R2 with its ancient cycle, wasn't just a curiosity anymore. It was a convergence, a crossroads in cosmic history. Something extraordinary was happening near the sun, and humanity was caught in the middle of it. And if the objects themselves weren't enough, the response of governments and space agencies revealed just how seriously the world was taking the threat. Behind closed doors, preparations had already begun. The public heard almost nothing, a few carefully worded statements, bland reassurances, and repeated promises that there was no immediate threat. But behind the silence, the truth was very different. Governments weren't calm, they were panicking. Inside the Pentagon, classified briefings described 3I/Atlas and Swan R2 not as comets, but as unidentified interstellar assets. Memos leaked from European Space Command suggested that emergency planetary defense protocols had been reactivated, programs once dismissed as science fiction now being dusted off in secret. And in China, sources whispered that the mighty Long March 9 heavy-lift rocket program had been quietly redirected, not toward the moon, not toward Mars, but toward something else. An interceptor, a weapon. NASA stayed quiet, refusing to release raw James Webb spectra, citing data verification. The European Space Agency declined interviews. Even the White House issued only a single sentence: "We are aware of the situation and monitoring it." To the public, it sounded routine, but within the halls of power, it was anything but. Reports surfaced of plans for high-velocity interceptors capable of slamming into 3I/Atlas or its companions. Old blueprints for asteroid deflection missions were revived. SpaceX and Blue Origin were allegedly approached about rapid launch platforms. And the most chilling of all, calls for nuclear signaling. Not to attack, but to demonstrate readiness. The theory was simple. If the 9 companions were probes, they were certainly watching. Broadcasting power at 20 gigawatts meant they could read our radio spectrum with ease. They would know if Earth's nuclear powers were preparing or cowering. Harvard's Avi Loeb called it openly, "We must show we are not passive." He urged the United Nations to form a planetary task force, warning that if this was contact, then hesitation would be our downfall. Others argued the opposite. Don't provoke, don't signal, don't attract attention. If these were autonomous drones, what if they were programmed to strike at the first sign of hostility? The dilemma was paralyzing. Do nothing and risk appearing weak. Do something and risk triggering a conflict with forces far beyond our comprehension. And hanging over it all was the most terrifying question of all. Was this really contact? A deliberate arrival of intelligent machines from the void? Or a cruel coincidence? 2 natural wanderers crossing paths near the sun, their bizarre properties only illusions we cannot yet explain. The truth was, no one knew. Scientists were split. Governments were preparing for the worst. And ordinary people, staring up at green streaks in the sky, felt the weight of something they couldn't name. Awe, fear, destiny. October loomed. The moment of convergence approached, and the world stood at the edge of a revelation that could redefine not just science, but the very place of humanity in the cosmos. But as strange as all this seems, perhaps the real mystery isn't what we've already seen, Atlas, Swan, the Nine Companions, but what hasn't revealed itself yet. Because in the cold silence of space, there's one truth we can't escape. When the universe knocks, it rarely knocks only once.